So my lighting is still on the way here, so sorry about the shadows and all that for the rest of this video, but besides that... Hey guys, what's up? After tearing down 2 Alienware gaming PCs, I have here 2 1000 watt 80 plus gold power supplies, 2 MATX motherboards with Ryzen 5 5600Xs, 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 megahertz, and the best part, 2 RTX 3090s. Yeah, 2 3090s. I know, I got very lucky with this one, and it was a complete accident, but here I am. So now that I have 2 3090s, I thought a great idea would be to finally upgrade my main gaming and editing workstation. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. It'll be a nice short video. We'll do some upgrading, we'll talk about my current specs, and get into what the new specs are going to be, although I'm just upgrading my graphics card because honestly, as you'll see, everything else is pretty good. So let's move this stuff out of the way and get to upgrading. So this here is my main gaming PC. And inside of it, we've got a pretty respectable Ryzen 9 3900 XT, 128 gigabytes of Kingston Fury DDR4, a bunch of SSD storage, and for our graphics card, we've got an RTX 3060. And by all means, the RTX 3060 is still not a bad card. I've advocated for it many times. I've stated that I've been using this for months now and have had no problem with gaming, editing, and anything of the sorts. It's just that when 2 3090s fall out of the sky, you kinda should use one in your main gaming PC. I just realized without a dynamic camera or good lighting or anything else, this is going to be a very quick and simple upgrade. It's going to look very bad because all I'm gonna do is pop out my EVGA RTX 3060 KO, an adorable graphics card, couldn't recommend it more. It gets pretty hot, but with some proper fan tuning, it's a great card and very quiet, especially even under load, so definitely recommend. And we're gonna replace that with our beef chonkular RTX 3090. Now these are obviously Dell RTX 3090s. They only have 2 8-pins, which is surprisingly not very common on RTX 3090s, and it only has 2 fans and a pretty dense, but by all means pretty discreet heatsink. It does have a backplate, which I believe has some thermal pads for that back GDDR6X, but it can still get very hot, although under a gaming load, I think we're gonna be absolutely fine. Now, the power supply in my rig is a Silverstone SF750 Platinum. That is a 750 watt Platinum rated power supply, and it is pretty good actually. I've run this build with an RX 6900 XT. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not running that now, is because I realized I don't really need an RX 6900 XT, so I ended up selling that to one of my viewers because, quite frankly, Radeon drivers still aren't good enough, and Premiere Pro support is sadly still lacking for OpenCL graphics cards like the RX 6900 XT, and dealing with AMD's driver stuff is just, it's too much. I can't do it, I'm sorry. So we're just going to actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use 2 different chains of our 8 pins. This thing is such a mess. Now, I have received a couple questions about what case I'm using, and to be honest, I think it's, I'm gonna butcher this here, but you can generally get the idea. I bought it on Amazon, and I believe it's a ZZAW case, which is definitely a West Taiwan-esque based company, but so yeah. But overall, the build quality is not great. It's just basically sharp cut aluminum, and it has no structural rigidity whatsoever. But for the form factor, I can have a 360mm radiator or fans or whatever the heck I want, and an MATX motherboard, so room for extra expansion that I've just destroyed by using a 3090. But I mean, it works for what I'm doing, although I plan on replacing it pretty soon, hopefully with even a smaller case that supports the same amount of expansion. Just gonna screw in this one terrible screw here. There we go. We'll see if this 750 watt power supply is enough, although, like I said, I have faith in Silverstone's engineering and the fact that I've seen this thing run a 6900 XT that had 3 8-pins. these only have, I could show you guys on this while having one of this only has 2 8-pins, so it should be able to run it completely fine. And all that's left to do is close up our case and not drop it on the way over to our desk, and our build is complete. Now, I will include a benchmark or two right after this talking section. Unfortunately, I am not set up in this space yet for any sort of like, you know, benchmarking here or showing anything yet. I will be shortly, but I thought this would be a nice video because I needed to upgrade my graphics card like right now, and thought, you know what, might as well record it and of course edit it on this PC and see if we gain any performance from upgrading our graphics card. Although I use CPU rendering anyway, so who knows, but besides that, we have a very sleek looking build. I know you just get reflections, but if you look at the I/O, there you go. That is beautiful. We got 2.5 gig LAN, because mostly it's the rear of my motherboard at this point, and we've got our 3090. Now, I would SLI these 3090s, but that's stupid and dumb, and also, the SLI bridge costs like 50 to 100 bucks or something. I don't actually know off the top of my head, but I know it costs a lot of money, and I don't have any money. You might be wondering where these came from. Just know I have them by accident. They are mine, and they are for sale. I just probably shouldn't have them. That's a point. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed this little upgrade. I'm going to include some benchmarks, and one thing I'll include is that I currently have a 1080p monitor. I have a new one coming, but it's probably not the best benchmark of an RTX 3090 to use 1080p. But I will include that on Hitman 3, maximum possible settings, 1080p, my RTX 3060 and Quadro RTX A4000 both get sub 144 FPS, meaning that I can't get a stable 144 hertz on my monitor. I'm really hoping that if we are getting below 144 FPS, it's a CPU bottleneck, but we'll just have to see. So, thank you for watching this little part. Let's get into the benchmarks. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Someone help me, please. Oh, God!